Oxford claims made by Sashi Tharoor, followed by a debunk section. 1. India's share of the world economy declined from 23% to less than 4% under British colonial rule, as India was governed for the benefit of Britain. Truth. This claim is misleading. India's share of the world economy was estimated to be 27% in 1700 before British rule. It declined to 3.8% in 1952, after nearly 200 years of British colonialism. However, this decline was not solely due to exploitation by the British. Other factors like rapid industrialization in Europe and stagnation in India also contributed. 2. Britain's Industrial Revolution was premised on the deindustrialization of India, such as destroying the Indian handloom weaving industry and exporting raw materials from India. Truth. Some Indian industries declined during the colonial period, but the claim that Britain systematically destroyed Indian industries is exaggerated. The handloom industry did suffer from British policies, but its decline was multicausal, industrialization in Britain and use of machines being major factors. 3. Colonialists like Robert Clive bought rotten boroughs in England with the proceeds of their loot from India. Truth. While some officials like Clive did amass personal fortunes and buy parliamentary seats, the extent of systematic loot from India is disputed by historians. Remittances to Britain were a small part of British revenue. 4. Between 15 and 29 million Indians died of starvation under British-induced famines, including 4 million during the Bengal famine caused by Churchill's policies. Truth. Famines did occur under British rule, but the extent of deaths is exaggerated. The highest estimate of famine deaths during colonial rule is 10 million. The Bengal famine was devastating, but attributing sole blame to Churchill ignores complex causes like crop failure. 5. Churchill deliberately diverted food from Indian civilians to Europeans during WW2, leading to mass starvation in Bengal. Truth. While Churchill's policies contributed to the Bengal famine, he did not explicitly divert food to let Indians starve. The famine had complex causes including natural disasters. British mismanagement certainly aggravated the crisis. 6. Violence and racism were the reality of the colonial experience, not any claimed beneficence. Truth. There were undeniable acts of violence and racism under British rule. However, the record is not uniformly negative. Benefits like the railway network, legal system and administrative institutions were also a reality. 7. During WW1, over 1.3 million Indian personnel served, 54,000 lost their lives, 65,000 were wounded, and India supplied huge quantities of supplies, ammunition and money. Truth. The contribution of Indian soldiers and resources during WW1 is undisputed and well documented. Tharoor's figures about casualties and supplies are factual. 8. Similarly, in WW2, over 2.5 million Indians served in uniform. Britain owed India £1.25 billion of its total £3 billion war debt. Truth. Again, the role of Indian soldiers and Britain's debt to India in WW2 is historically accurate as presented by Tharoor. 9. The railways in India were not built to serve locals but to enhance British interests. They were built at great cost and risk to Indians. Truth. The railways were constructed to suit imperial interests like transporting raw materials. But they also provided major benefits to Indians by enabling trade and travel. The cost was borne by both British and Indian investors. 10. The dehumanization and damage done to Africans and Caribbean peoples has persisted, creating racial, ethnic and religious tensions. Truth. The legacy of slavery and racism has certainly left lasting damage on colonial societies. However, the British cannot be blamed solely for present-day tensions. Local political and social dynamics are also responsible. 11. There is a moral debt that Britain owes and for which reparations are needed, as other countries like Germany have paid. An apology and token payment of reparations can help atone for past wrongs. Truth. The arguments around reparations are complex. While Britain's colonialism had devastating impacts, simply assigning moral debt and repaying will not correct historical wrongs. The German case was unique given the Holocaust. Meaningful reconciliation requires nuance and addressing ongoing issues.